Breaking news out of Las Vegas, a name you haven't heard much about could soon become the spark the Raiders desperately need. What if I told you a rookie sleeper is already turning heads inside the locker room? Raider Nation, you're going to want to hear this, because today's revelation could shake up the entire 2025 depth chart. Stay locked in. I've got some surprising Raiders news that even the die-hard fans may not see coming. Bringing you the inside scoop from the heart of Raider Nation, and today, we're diving deep into a potential breakout star for the 2025 season. Remember this name, decamerion Richardson. He's not a first-rounder. He's not a headline machine. But according to fourth-round pick Donte Thornton Jr., Richardson could be the hidden weapon the Raiders unleash next season. I recently sat down with Thornton for an exclusive interview, and when I asked him who the dark horse was in this locker room, without hesitation, he said Richardson. That one answer set the chat on fire, and honestly, it caught me off guard in a good way. Before we break down the full story, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you love the Raiders, and don't forget to smash that bell icon so you never miss breaking news. Let's dive in. Now let's talk why decamerion Richardson could become the biggest surprise of the season. Yes, the Raiders' secondary already features names like Darren Porter, Jakorian Bennett, and Eric Stokes, all promising pieces in this evolving defense. But what if Richardson could be the fourth pillar, the one that pushes this defensive backfield from developing to dominant? Thornton's belief wasn't just talk, it was confident, measured, and came from seeing the work firsthand. He praised Richardson's instincts, athleticism, and most of all, his willingness to grind. It reminded me of something Pete Carroll always said about young defenders. Raw talent is great, but coachability, that's what gets you on the field. And when you pair that mindset with the guidance of Rob Leonard, one of the NFL's most respected defensive minds, the ceiling for Richardson starts looking a whole lot higher. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to break down 3 major reasons why decamerion Richardson is a name you better remember, not just as a camp body, but as a potential 2025 impact player. Stay tuned. Raider Nation, you might be watching a star quietly rise. When you look at the Raiders' recent success developing talent in the trenches, one thing is clear: players consistently get better under this coaching staff. And now that same effect could be on its way to the defensive backfield, thanks to a name that carries major weight, Pete Carroll. Yes, that Pete Carroll, known not just for building championship-level teams, but for shaping elite defensive backs. He has a very specific type: long, athletic, aggressive. And decamerion Richardson checks every single box. What makes Carroll different isn't just how he teaches football, it's how he elevates it. He doesn't just coach guys to knock down passes. He teaches them how to change games, how to turn near misses into interceptions, and instincts into impact. Now think about Richardson, a physical specimen who somehow never recorded a single interception in college. That might raise some eyebrows, but it also tells a story: a player who's always been close to the moment, just never finished it. With a mind like Carroll in the building, that could all change. If Richardson learns to trust his hands, sharpen his reads, and finish the play, he could transform into the ball-hawking threat this Raiders defense has been missing. But it's not just about Pete Carroll. There's another reason this leap could happen, and his name is Patrick Graham. Graham is a brilliant defensive strategist, a technician, a teacher, and someone who thrives on helping raw players master the fundamentals. That's exactly what Richardson needs: technique, positioning, awareness. These are the tools Graham is known for sharpening. And we've seen this before. Just look at Jakorian Bennett's development, or how Trevon Moehrig turned the corner in year 3. Moehrig himself said the game finally slowed down, and he could just react instead of overthinking. That's exactly where Richardson could be headed. Give a talent like this the mental clarity to trust his instincts, and with his athletic ceiling, that's when things start to click. That's when a sleeper becomes a problem for opposing quarterbacks. And finally, we can't ignore the tandem guiding him on the field every day: Marcus Robertson and Joe Woods. 2 of the sharpest minds on this defensive staff. Woods, who also serves as the pass game coordinator, brings the vision. Robertson brings the detail. Together, they're exactly the pair to unlock Richardson's next level. So when you put it all together, the mentorship of Carroll, the precision of Graham, the experience of Robertson and Woods, You've got a formula brewing in Vegas that could quietly produce one of the AFC's biggest breakout defenders. And it's why you shouldn't be surprised if decamerion Richardson makes headlines before the season's even halfway over. There's something powerful about experience, and decamerion Richardson is stepping into a room full of it. Let's start with Marcus Robertson, a man who played in the NFL for over a decade, from 1991 to 2002. That kind of on-field knowledge doesn't come from a textbook, it's lived. And since 2007, he's been coaching players at the pro level, teaching from a place of truth. He's walked the same path these young defenders are now trying to carve out. Then you bring in Joe Woods, a football mind who's been in the league since 1992. Multiple teams, multiple roles, and a deep, detailed understanding of how to mold young defensive backs into complete players. Now think about what that means for a guy like Richardson, a raw athlete with upside, but still growing into who he can be. The word around the locker room is that he's got a young spirit, energy, personality, emotion. But maybe also a little bit of that rookie edge that still needs refining. That's not a knock. It's a stage every great player passes through. What Richardson needs now is connection, coaches who get where he's coming from and can guide where he's going. And that's where this coaching duo becomes incredibly important. Robertson brings relatability. He knows what it's like to be in a player's shoes. He's felt the pressure. He's played the position. That voice will matter. Woods brings authority and perspective. He's a teacher, an architect of defensive schemes, and a guy who knows how to challenge players to rise. It's not about being a father figure. It's about being a leader who commands growth. Together, they form a coaching combination that can help turn decamerion into something more than just a depth piece. They can help him grow mentally, emotionally, and technically, all the things that separate raw potential from on-field impact. Now let's step back and look at the full picture. So far, we've talked about 4 critical mentors for Richardson. Pete Carroll, the visionary. Patrick Graham, the technician. Marcus Robertson, the veteran voice. Joe Woods, the strategic builder. Each brings something unique. Each is positioned to help Richardson develop in a different dimension. And when you blend all of that together, you get an ecosystem designed to grow a player like this from the inside out. If I had to rate my confidence in this group, in their ability to shape Richardson into a serious contributor, I'm sitting firmly at an 8 out of 10. That's high praise, but it's earned. Because this isn't just some average staff, this is one of the most well-rounded defensive support groups in the league. The only question that remains is, will Dam put it all together? He's got the traits, he's got the mentors, he's got the nickname now too, Dam. Shout out to Thornton for that one. Stick around. I've got a few more key reasons why decamerion Dam Richardson might just become the Raiders' surprise weapon this season. Alright, let's get into something that's hard to ignore: raw athleticism. One of the biggest reasons the Raiders pulled the trigger on decamerion Richardson was simple: size, speed, and upside. He's not your average defensive back. He's long, rangy, and explosive. We're talking 6'2", nearly 200 pounds, and clocking a 4.34-second 40-yard dash. That's rare. That's elite. That's the kind of profile that turns special teams coaches into mad scientists. And with the NFL's new kickoff return rules designed to bring more speed back into the game, Richardson might have just walked into a tailor-made opportunity. His straight-line burst, closing speed, and physicality could make him a nightmare on kick coverage, and maybe even a surprise weapon in the return game. But don't think this is just about athleticism on paper. According to Next Gen Stats, Richardson earned an 88 athleticism score during the pre-draft process, one of the top marks among all cornerbacks in the 2024 class. That's not hype, that's data. Measurable, repeatable, proven performance. And if you want a little more flavor to this story, consider this. Back in high school, Dam ran the 100-meter dash in 10.75 seconds. Let that sink in for a second. That's not just fast for football, that's track level speed. And for a defensive back trying to keep pace with NFL receivers, that kind of burst is gold. When I heard that time, it immediately sparked a debate we've had a few times in the studio: who wins a hot dog-eating 100-meter combo challenge? Joey Chestnut or Usain Bolt? Eat one dog, then sprint. Chaos. But in all seriousness, if you throw Richardson into that mix, he might just outrun both of them and finish with clean hands. The point is, this kid isn't just another depth piece. He's a pure athlete, one of the most dynamic movers on the Raiders roster already, and we haven't even seen him unleashed yet. What makes it even more exciting is when you combine athletic traits like his with the right coaching and development, which he now has in Vegas. He's long, he's fast, he's explosive, and he's still just scratching the surface. Let's be real for a second. When I saw decamerion Richardson's 100-meter time, 10.75 seconds, I stopped and stared. That's elite speed, the kind that can't be taught. And when that level of athleticism is paired with the right opportunity, it becomes dangerous. But there's one final reason I think Richardson could really break out, and this one isn't just about numbers or traits, it's about history and a little bit of magic. The Raiders have a track record, a strange but consistent one, of finding gems in the fourth round. It's where the silver and black have quietly struck gold over the years. Let's rewind a bit. 2019, Max Crosby, now the face of this defense. 2019, Foster Moreau, a reliable red zone weapon. 2020, Amick Robertson, tough, gritty, battle-tested. 2023, Aiden O'Connell, who surprised everyone with poise and command. 2023, Yakorian Bennett, loaded with promise on the outside. 2024, Donte Thornton Jr., early signs point to something special. Now the question becomes, can Richardson be next? Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I've got my doubts. His technique? Still raw. His fundamentals? Still developing. And if we're being honest, that matters. This league doesn't hand out second chances easily. But here's the thing, even with those doubts, I find myself hoping he proves me wrong. That's part of being real with your audience. I'm going to give you my take, whether it's popular or not. I'm going to say what I believe. And if I end up being wrong, even better, because that means a young guy just earned his shot. In fact, Richardson isn't the only one. I've got 5 more Raiders on my list who I'm not fully sold on, but I want to be. I want them to shock me, to show the world they're ready, and to make me eat my words. That's what this sport is all about. Growth, proving people wrong, rising when nobody expects it. So before I get into those 5 names, here's something for you. Who's that one Raiders player you've been unsure about, but deep down you're rooting for? Drop that name in the comments. Maybe it's someone like Geno Smith. I have a feeling his name will pop up more than once. And if so, I hope he proves you wrong too. Now let's move to the first name on my list. Darnay Holmes, and here's why I've got questions. Let's talk about concern, not to criticize, but to confront reality. We'll start at nickel corner because it might be one of the Raiders' biggest question marks heading into this season. Right now, Darnay Holmes is working heavily in the slot, but he's been splitting reps with Thomas Harper, and neither has fully separated. The coaching staff's been leaning heavily on 3 safety looks, which tells you something. They're still searching for the right fit inside. And that's a little unsettling because in today's NFL, the nickel isn't just another position, it's one of the most critical roles on defense. A mismatch there, it'll get exposed early and often. Now let's move to the linebacker core. When the Raiders signed Devin White to a 1-year deal, I was one of the lower voices on that move, not because of the money, but because of the fit. White has undeniable athleticism, but his consistency in coverage and pursuit has raised flags. That said, the addition of Jermaine Pratt gives me some hope. It suggests they may use White in more specialized roles, not as a full-time anchor. And if that's the case, then yes, I want to be proven wrong. Let him fly sideline to sideline and let the speed speak. Next up, Alex Cappa. There's no sugarcoating this. Last season, Cappa graded out as one of the worst performing starting offensive linemen in the league. And that's not opinion, that's performance data. He played through all 17 games, but looked like a shell of the version we saw back in 2020 before injuries slowed him down. Now he's in Vegas, and fans are understandably cautious. There's always the fear of another Cody Whitehair situation, a lineman getting reps because of familiarity with coaches, not because of results. But if Cappa can regain his old form, that would be a massive boost. I'm skeptical, but I'm also hopeful. Let's move to the back end. Isaiah Pola-Mao is someone I've long liked as a rotational player. But asking him to start at free safety, that's a leap I'm not yet ready to make. This has been my biggest sticking point with the current defensive structure. Free safety still feels like a void. I've been vocal about pursuing someone like Justin Simmons or Julian Blackmon, true center fielders. Right now, I see Polamau as a third safety, a strong piece in a rotation, not the guy patrolling the deep middle. But again, I'd love to be wrong. If he takes that next step, it changes everything. And finally, let's talk about the biggest name on this list, Christian Wilkins. Look, we all know what Wilkins can be at his best. Disruptive, violent, relentless. But I've got one big concern: health. There have been whispers about lingering issues and whether or not another procedure might be needed. I hope not, because even at less than 100%, Wilkins still offers more than most interior linemen in the league. But make no mistake, his presence is key to this Raiders front. If he's not right, it's going to show. And if he is right, this unit takes on a whole new level of nastiness. So yeah, call this my prove me wrong list. Not because I'm rooting against these guys, but because I want to see them exceed expectations. That's the beauty of this game. Players evolve, reputations change, and every season brings a new chapter. We've got plenty more storylines coming, but those are the names I'm watching closest.